guys, how you going? My name's Hev. So I just wanted to introduce myself for those who are just joining us, so you know who I am. Today I wanted to do a video on how our constitutions were subverted. So I'm going to get into that, and also what I think might happen at the end of all this. So anyway, it's good to have you here. I'm glad to see you. And if I can get to 1,000 subscribers, I want to go live and interact with you guys, so I can have you talk back to me and I'm not just talking at you, because I'd really love the interaction of reading your comments and seeing what you've got to say as I'm saying it. Okay guys, let's get on with it. So Congress created a separate form of government for the District of Columbia, a 10-mile square parcel of land. See Acts of the 41st Congress, Section 34, Session 3, Chapters 61-62. The act passed when the country was weakened and financially depleted in the aftermath of the Civil War. Was a strategic move by foreign interests, international bankers, who were intent upon gaining a stranglehold on the coffers and necks of America. Congress cut a deal with the international bankers, specifically Rothschilds of London, to incur a debt to said bankers, because the bankers were not about to lend money to a floundering nation without serious stipulations. They devised a way to get their foot in the door of the United States and every country. The Act of 1871 formed a corporation called the United States. The corporation, owned by foreign interests, moved in and shoved the original Constitution into a dustbin. With the Act of 1871, the organic Constitution was defaced, in effect vandalized and sabotaged, when the title was capitalized and the word for was changed to of in the title. For example, the Constitution of the United States of America is the Constitution of the Incorporated United States of America. And a lot of countries have this. It operates in an economic capacity and has been used to fool the people into unknowingly becoming indentured and indebted to the new corporation, the United States, and that it governs the Republic. It does not. Capitalization is not insignificant when one is referring to a legal document. This seemingly minor alteration has had major impact on every subsequent generation of Americans. Okay, the Act of 1871, the United States a corporation. There are two constitutions, same as Australia. Okay, I've read some of it already, so I'm just getting to the part where... Okay. What Congress did by passing the Act of 1871 was create an entirely new document, a constitution for the government of the District of Columbia, an incorporated government. This newly altered constitution was not intended to benefit the Republic. It benefits only the corporation of the United States of America and operates entirely outside the original organic constitution. Instead of having absolute and unalienable rights guaranteed under the organic constitution, we the people now have relative rights or privileges. One example is the sovereign right to travel, which has now been transformed under corporate government policy into a privilege that requires citizens to be licensed. By passing the Act of 1871, Congress committed treason against the people who were sovereign under the grants and decrees of the Declaration of Independence and the Organic Constitution. The Act of 1871 became the foundation of all the treason since committed by government officers. Okay. The TLDR version is they, by military force and illegitimate legislature, amended the Constitution against the will of the people, and legally tricked us into becoming indentured slaves of human capital and resources to the United States of America, the corporation. Number 2, Republic versus democracy. Insert pic. They need to get away from the republic and create a democracy in order to drive us towards socialism and inevitably a dictatorship. National Socialist Party, aka Nazi, which is what they've been doing for a long time. They help the candidates get in office, control them while they're in office, bribery or whatever. Number 3, USA military flag, USA civil flag, the USA corporation flag with a gold fringe. Some say it's a flag of Admiralty maritime type jurisdiction, and it's not supposed to be used on land. Others say it's not a flag at all, but fiction. However, the gold fringe which surrounds the flag gives notice that the American flag has been captured and is now being used by the corporate so-called government to give notice of its jurisdiction. Number 4, governing body. We thought our 3 branches of governments were checks and balances. Wrong. In the corporate law, check out how it really works. The president, a Caesar, rules by executive order, unconstitutional. Congress and the courts are under the president. Did you ever wonder why Congress is ignored by the president? There are no checks and balances unless the president is concerned with a potential revolution based on the outcry of its citizens. Each puppet that comes into office wears a different costume but ends up serving the same master. The masters are the elite and bankers operating behind the scenes. Anons already know this to be true. Number 5, medium of exchange. Used to be gold and silver. Now we play with paper and digital money that is basically a grandiose IOU created out of thin air, that the bankers collect back with interest, all designed to further the wealth disparity between the elite and the people. Number 6, sovereigns versus subjects. Look at the name on driver's license, social security cards, credit cards, deeds, bank accounts, etc. Name in all caps, isn't it? It's got to do with Admiralty law, guys. Your birth certificate has your footprint on it, thereon, before it touches the land. You are thereby a corporate government asset before you even knew what happened. Signed off by your mother unknowingly, yet knowingly, thereby getting past free will. Number 7, elector versus voter. Registering to vote is an admission that the declarant is subject to the exclusive legislative power of the corporate Congress and is a 14th Amendment citizen residing in a federal territory. Now, there's more to these where you can read the picture. There's pictures of, explaining it all. So what I'll do is I'll put the link below and you can go and have a look at it yourself, because this is really interesting and people need to know this. Number 8, justice system versus just us system. It really is set up to benefit them and not us. He who has control of the money has control over the laws of the land and thus control over its people. And in our case, all US citizens are property. Number 9, prisons for incarceration versus prisons for profit. More and more prisons today are privately owned and run as profit, making commercial enterprise creating products and services for sale. It is believed that many judges hold stock or an interest in these privatised prisons. It's not a conflict of interest, is it? These commercially run prisons do not have the best interests of the inmates or staff in mind, but the bottom line, profit. They need a continuous supply of low-cost labour slaves to produce products in order to increase profits. Even when the crime rate is down, these privateers lobby the appropriate governmental and judicial authorities to increase the incarceration rate in order to add to their already substantial profit-taking. There are no checks and balances for monitoring this type of system. Number 10, guarantees versus quarantines. Your rights, your land, your things, your money. They belong to the corporation and they will take them and do whatever they want with them through the legal process they legally set up through the constitution of the corporation. You can fight, but you will lose. It's designed that way. Number 11, states versus states in capital. All state governments today are corporations, not sovereign states. Only corporations are required to pay sales tax as entities of the corporate government. They got the citizens to volunteer to pay upfront sales tax on their behalf. Thanks, Democrats. Number 12, debt versus debt in capital letters. When a government goes bankrupt, it loses its sovereignty. Important to remember later. First bankruptcy was after the Civil War Enter Act of 1871, which I just read. Second bankruptcy was in 1933, Roosevelt. Members of Congress are the official trustees in the bankruptcy. Trillions of dollars. The Republic should be debt-free at all times. Number 13, taxation. Taxation is theft. Income tax is unlawful. Inheritance tax is unlawful, but are legal and limitless under the laws of the corporation. Number 14, unalienable rights versus inalienable rights. By changing one word in the state's constitutions, we went from God-given rights to government-given privileges. So from unalienable to inalienable. Inalienable. You know what I mean. Some days I just can't talk. I'm really tired, so. Government privileges, benefits, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, grants, disaster relief, food stamps, licenses and registration, permission, privileges only, no rights, experimentation on citizens without their consent. Number 15, records, birth certificate, death certificate, marriage license, miscegenation records, all held as records by the county clerk office to keep track of the corporate government's holdings, which are applied as collateral to the increasing, to the increasing debt. Number 16, free enterprise versus corporatism. The thing that created the corporation becomes more powerful than the creator, man, who created it. Man is no longer free but is subservient, a slave to the corporate structure. The corporate structure needs to reduce the wages of its human resources, to decrease costs, to increase profit, to keep growing. Corporations eat each other and grow bigger and more powerful, thereby allowing fewer persons having big egos, controlling the lives of the common folk from cradle to grave. Schools, number 17. Schools versus Human Resource Department. Public schools are actually government schools paid for by forced taxation, whether they want it or not. Teaches blind obedience to the central state, similar to Nazi Germany. Gun rights. Does this even need explaining? Guns. Sovereigns have a right to own and use guns, right to bear arms against enemies foreign and domestic. The Founding Fathers knew the importance of protecting themselves from governments who got out of hand. Guns in the hands of good people is good defence. This government wants to disarm the citizens so as to have complete control and power. Every tyrannical government in the past has taken away the guns to prevent any serious opposition or rebellion. History continues to repeat itself because the new generations who come along don't know or tend to forget about the past and say it will not happen here. Number 19, militia versus military. They used our people, who were citizens, and their desire to protect America as justification to form and use the US military as a tool to destroy other dissenting sovereign nations and cultures. Militia. Amendment 2. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Military. This is what they think of them. Military men are just dumb, stupid animals to be used as pawns in foreign policy. Okay, so what I think is going to happen at the end here is, because all this is starting to come out, I think we're going to find that we start walking back a bit. And I believe that what will end up happening is there might not be a government at the end. I don't know if you've ever heard of the book The Last President and Baron Trump's underground adventure, but it's very strange that those books came out in the 1800s and then we have what we have today. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look up Baron Trump's Underground Adventures or The Last President. They're both written by the same author, and it's just very strange. It's kind of like how the Simpsons seem to be able to predict things. They show things on TV before they happen, like Trump's presidency, when Lisa wanted to be president. But anyway, getting past that, yeah, I believe in the end we're going to have very limited government, and I believe the people need to be slow walked into it because they can't govern themselves at the moment. They're too reliant on the government. So what I think is going to happen over the next few years is slowly but surely things will start to turn backwards a bit. I'm not sure how far it's going to go, and I'm only theorising here, guys. This is just what I think. But from what I can see, the plan is to get the people to govern themselves and get rid of all this crap that we have. So I think it looks good. I think if this plan pans out the way it's supposed to, this is looking pretty good. It's just all real. I'm finding this all really interesting, and I am absolutely excited that I'm able to live through this to see this happen, because I'm really interested in seeing the outcome. It might not work out how I'm telling you, but it's just what I think from what I can gather, because all of this information is starting to come out now. So we're all learning about how laws are made, how money's made, how we run. I believe those are the things that are going to come out. Yeah. So these are just all my opinions too, guys, and things like this, you know. So take it with a grain of salt. Do some research, especially into maritime law and our constitutions, because our original, most of us have two constitutions, most countries, because we have the original one that was written, but then we have a corporate constitution, which when the corporate took over. So, okay, guys, that'll be it for today. Have a good day, night, wherever you are, and I shall talk to you very soon. Okay, guys, bye.